It was hiding.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Oh,
So are we gonna do it about our year?
yeah.
Wrap it up. Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Yeah. RYME, wrap it up.
This is the RYME 2024. Wrap it up, put a bow on it, give it away, and never look back at it.
Oh, but keep the good stuff.
Yeah. The RYME wrap up.
The RYME wrap up. Rap.
What a year.
Yeah. It has been a very long year.
It feels like it's been really long and really short all at once.
Mm.
Like the year is long, but the days are short. You know how they
Yeah.
say that? Like when you have kids, like they say like the years are short, but the days are long. I think it's like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've
So
never
it's like
heard
our
that.
little rhyme baby. It's like, gosh, the days really felt long sometimes
Mm-hmm.
or short.
Yeah. Really, really long, but also a lot of really very fast good days,
Mm-hmm.
right? RYME good days. RYME blissful, magical
Yeah.
days.
I'm trying to even remember. So last January,
Mm-hmm. I was there with you.
you were in Costa Rica, right?
Mm-hmm. Right after the New Year, I think. Or no, I
Yeah.
came in Feb.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
don't
we had
remember.
you came in Feb. We had a retreat here. We had a retreat in Charleston in March.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, I remember it was so hot last year. Like that wasn't my best Costa Rica experience. I feel like it was so hot that I couldn't really go outside. Just wanted to stay inside.
And then we left and went to
Uh,
Charleston.
mhm,
And then life moved on. And I saw you a couple of times in Europe over the summer. We had our
mhm.
retreat in Morocco.
My gosh, a lot of skipping months, huh?
I know, like I'm trying to just like recap it in my brain, just like where were we?
I don't even know
Uh,
where we were. I was moving to Spain
yeah,
in
let's
like
start there.
April. Start
After you left
moving.
here, you went
Yeah.
and you kind of like settled in Spain. So that let's talk about some of the like big things that happened. And I feel like
Hmm.
maybe starting with your decision, like so many people ask like where you live, why you live there. So what was that
Mm-hmm.
process like and what rhyme
Oh,
tools did you lean on a lot actually in
mhm.
finding that space?
That's a good question because it was a very messy decision. Um, I feel like since we met, like life has been like some sort of like a roller coaster. So I've been like manifesting this life that I'm leading right now for a long time, but probably I missed a few like details to bring some ease and peace into that manifestation too, because I've been like quite chaotic. I mean, COVID happened, like where are we gonna stay, where are we gonna go? So living out of a suitcase for a long time, I really needed, and my body really needed a place to stay. And I felt like I just couldn't be in Costa Rica for the whole season, like the whole year. I just can't do that. My body is too European to deal with that weather, the heat and the dry and the rain and the I don't know. So me and my partner, my lovely partner, we just didn't really know where to go, and we stayed in the south of Spain and we stayed in like Portugal. All that stuff didn't really make sense either. So then we were in Holland. It's like, are we gonna stay here? Are we gonna live in Holland? But then he said, no, let's not do that. And also my body didn't want that. It's like, well, if we have to, but then it was sort of like last minute kind of a decision. And I remember that I went to the acupuncturist in Holland, and she's such a lovely lady, and she takes always so much time for me and good care of me. And she said, is this what you really want? And then I felt like a full body yes, like I want to go to Spain, like the north of Spain, San Sebastian. It's such a cute little city and on the beach. And but thinking about moving and like grounding and like finding community and all that, that I wasn't looking forward to that. I mean, I speak a little Spanish, but not really. So that's also a thing that you need to invest in. Spain is not really known for their like language skills. They mainly speak Spanish. So yeah. So it was like it was it was a good decision, messy decision. It was difficult decision, loaded with a lot of emotion. So like going to Spain, it took a while for us to find a place, and we did after 1 month. That was the longest month of looking and surrendering and breathing and just continuously coming back to the self, right? Like that's what you asked, like what kind of tools I used. And I feel like I did a lot of meditation and breath and just taking it day by day. And then we found an apartment, and then everything just slowed down and made sense and felt better. But all the way up to May, that was really messy and chaotic and
Mm,
confusing, and like I didn't really feel really like my best. I feel,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a really big deal. That's a
Mm-hmm.
really big blessing of
Mm-hmm.
2024.
Yeah, yeah.
Luz finds a home.
I found my home, like one of my constellations of homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Spain. What about you? How were your first few months? What do you want to share about that? January, Costa Rica.
Oof. Well, I was in a very difficult relationship
Mm-hmm.
for a yearish.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we both had this similar theme of like, we have to listen to our bodies now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I was in this cycle of like trying and trying
Mm-hmm.
to make it work and trying to live in different places. And um, he was European, so it was like we spent time in Portugal and we tried,
Mm-hmm.
to, to share our lives and to share our time and to figure it out. And yeah, something very quickly shifted around February, March. That was just like a really clear sign of like, okay, stop
Mm-hmm.
trying. Like, actually, this is way too much effort. And that's such a fine line. I feel like that's one of the biggest learnings I've had this year of like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this fine ass line. It's a really small, like tiny little microscopic line sometimes about like
Mm-hmm.
when is it when is it the right thing and when is it okay to try and put effort in and do the work and not give up
Mm-hmm.
and honor commitments and when is it just not right and when is it that your body's saying like this doesn't work with your energy, this is not a person that's aligned with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me a year to really like decipher those clues. And we talk to our clients a lot about this too, like when you're ready you'll know. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was in that deep practice of like doubting and debating, and then my mind would take over and say like no no, like try a little
Mm-hmm.
more. And so I feel like the biggest teaching in that was like, okay, getting out of the head and into the body and really listening to my body. And in my body I knew for many months that the relationship wasn't aligned and it wasn't good for me. And so the first half of my year was like, yeah, finally listening to that and honoring that. And then using my mind to take the steps to get out of that. And, you know, that was big. That was big work.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
I
also, I
remember
feel a little easy. Also, it's like
I was,
once you made
I
the
was,
decision.
yeah, I was about to say. And then I remember just all the ease that came flooding in and waking up in the morning and being so fucking happy.
I remember that. Like we were in Charleston, and I saw you the next morning, and you're like your face was shining and like clear, and your energy was back because like you were a little struggling there, in
Yeah.
Costa Rica that month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the places we were before that, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
definitely not Costa
Mm-hmm.
Rica, and it definitely was the partner I had chosen for that year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just like the relief of like spaciousness and ease, and it's crazy what you learn in hindsight, like feeling all that
Yeah, yeah.
energy and space and peace and laughter and energy
Yeah, yeah,
back and being
yeah,
like, oh, I'm
yeah.
back. And then to feel like, what the fuck? Like, how did I
Yeah.
spend so many months
Yeah, yeah.
like
Tell
in
me.
that tension? Um,
Yeah.
Damn, we learned a lot in 2024. That was like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
first part of
Isn't
my
that
relationship lessons of 2024.
yeah, it's crazy, right? Like how difficult the decision felt when you were in it and then how easy it was when you made it. It's like, "Oh my gosh, that was actually a really easy decision in hindsight because it felt so good afterwards." Right? I feel
Yeah.
like that's also gave you a lot of trust and also me like making that decision is like, "Oh my gosh, that wasn't that hard actually." And it wasn't
Yeah.
that messy.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like that happens all the time, right? Like we get so in our heads about decisions because it can feel so complex. And as we know, like our systems, they like to do the same thing and be stuck in patterns. And making a
Mhm.
shift takes more energy and trust and neural networks and all these things that we talk about in RYME all the time. So it's
Mhm.
good, I feel like, that we continue to also be human and also be rhyming and also be learning and
Mhm.
to feel it ourselves
Mhm.
like, damn, it can be a real mind fuck to like choose
Mhm.
another path
Mhm.
and also
Mhm.
building the pathways of trust because once we do, it's like, oh yeah, and the dominoes kind of fall into place. But how you really have to like create safety in your body and create trust within yourself to be able to like do that step. And I
Mhm.
remember that from years ago when we first met and I was going through something difficult. And I remember thinking, like, oh no, I just don't want to do that hard thing. And it was also about a relationship. Like it was like 4 or 5 years ago. And you were like, it's not like this big rainstorm that you have to like get through, like it's
Mhm.
just little micro steps. And then all of a sudden you're on the other side of it and it's a sunny day again. So
Mhm.
that visual comes up a lot. And I feel like I use it a lot
Mhm.
as a metaphor when we're working with our
Yeah, yeah.
our community,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's such a human experience.
Yeah. It's like there's so much trust in knowing that if you just keep going and take every step, like with conscious attention and awareness, then before you know it, like you're through it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Good stuff, huh, buddy? But that wasn't the end of the year.
No,
That
that
was
was
just the
just the beginning.
beginning.
Ay, 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 ay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like there was a lot of clearing, clearing out
Mhm.
energy.
Mhm.
Yeah, because shall we talk about July?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Dun dun dun. July. July. So then
July.
we'll come back to all the rhyme stuff, but for now let's just keep on going down
Mhm.
personal rabbit holes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so then I came to visit. I went to Italy with some clients. Came to visit you, Luce, in San Sebastian. We were so happy to
Mhm.
be together again, and we were
With
both
your
in a
mom.
much better place. My mom was there. Yeah, and I guess I should add that post relationship at the early part of the year after that relationship ended. Um, I reconnected with sort of this like love of my life guy vibes, who'd been in my life for years and years, and that was feeling really good. And um, yeah, it was something that was feeling good and filling me up, and was excited
Mhm.
about, and in communication with, and
Mm.
it was such a easy and natural and loving relationship in so many ways. anyway, fast forward to being in Europe, and this guy decided also that, you know, it wasn't aligned for him anymore. And that's all good. But, you know, the way that someone chooses to go about that kind of decision is always very telling and interesting of what that person has
Mm-hmm.
capacity for in that
Mm-hmm.
moment, which I can now understand with compassion and a little more grace, but at the time was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. And, you know, to receive a text message when you're halfway across the world with this kind of
Yeah.
life changing decision and information that ends a 6 year friendship and relationship with someone
Yeah.
who I loved so much. And I mean, luckily, question mark, I was with you at that time. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that was like the kind of pain that's
Yeah.
like on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
not able to like eat, sleep, talk
Yeah.
for a few days at least. So
Yeah.
that was like, and it was interesting too, because this other relationship that ended in the earlier part of the year so full of ease once the decision was made. And I mean, of
Mm-hmm.
course, I made the decision in the end, but this one
Yeah.
was more, it took
Yeah.
a different type of toll. And also, I feel like I experienced all the grief from the other
Mm-hmm.
one that I didn't really experience any grief from. And then now it's like, it
Mm-hmm.
was just like grief city in my body.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the difference between those two for you as well was like the one you it took a long time for you to process that you needed to let this go because it wasn't good for you, and the other one is like now you like this bomb was dropped on you and now you have to let it go because the other person decides that that's
Mm-hmm.
what this person needs. That's a
Mm-hmm.
different feeling, like more out of control, and you're just like falling.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And also for not having an opportunity for conversation and clarity
Yeah.
and like
Yeah. Yeah.
closure and connection, and just to have all that kind of ripped away was
Mm-hmm.
a whole another level of acceptance and surrender and trust. It was like, oh, we're on level 14,000 of this now.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, that was so sad. Yeah.
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 And like at the same time,
Oh my gosh. At the same time,
the same
like yeah,
days.
the same days. I mean, my partner, he was in a bedroom and we were chilling together and he said like, "Please, can you like just come?" And I could hear in his voice that it wasn't okay. Like that there's something there. And he actually never talks in that way, or like he's never really super like anxious about stuff like that, not in this way. And then we felt this lump in his belly and we looked at each other. I remember that you were on the other side of him and it's like, oh, this feels like more than just something like poop or
Yeah.
something that's
Yeah.
in the way, like
Yeah.
stagnation or energy. No, it felt like something bigger. And instantly I felt in my body a panic and a trust at the same time. It's like, all right, this is
Mm-hmm.
going to be something big, but I also feel it's going to be okay. Like that's what I felt. And obviously this didn't happen overnight because it was like months and months of him being really tired but not really knowing why. I mean, I told you we had a messy like few months before of not knowing where to go, where to move, blah blah blah. And so he just
Mm-hmm.
started his job, all that. He was really tired and wasn't really present months before that. So I was already tired and maybe a little annoyed by him sometimes, like, come on, like step it up, blah blah blah. Well, then we spent some time with my brother who was here, also luckily and fortunate. And then we decided to go to the hospital in the evening. And fast forward, the same evening we got like some news that I knew that he had leukemia, but the doctor didn't really say that yet. But I just knew it because of the blood results, and I already knew something about that disease. And I needed to leave him at the hospital like late in the night because like he needed to stay there. It was that severe in that moment, and like his health was really bad, and like his blood results were really not good. And again, I felt panic, and it was really
Mm-hmm.
difficult. And driving in a taxi back home to you. It's like, oh no, and I need to tell you, I'm gonna cry and I'm gonna I'm gonna break down because I was really strong that moment when we heard the news and with him and all that. And then the next few days were like, what the fuck? What is
Awful.
what? Yeah, what does this mean? And he needed to do a bone marrow test and like what's gonna go, like what comes out of this, like
Mm-hmm.
what kind of news and what kind of result would this be on for him and on our life and all of this shit. Luckily, we
Yeah.
are in Spain, and the healthcare system here in Basque Country specifically is very, very good. So we got results really fast. And yes, it was leukemia, a chronic version. So that's like he had the version that was the best out of the all the bad news. This was the best news.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like a bomb exploding in my face, like in our face and his face and in your face, because you were dealing with your loss and you're like falling off a cliff with your feelings. And then I was right there with you. It was like,
Ah.
so falling. We were falling
Oh my
together.
God.
Oh, yeah. And we were laughing and we were like joking and we were crying
And
together. And
crying.
yeah, and laughing again and crying again and like
Mm-hmm.
panic taking over and emotions and like couldn't sleep, laughing
Mm-hmm.
again. Yeah, I was in hospital, so you were so sweet being here and taking your time, spending time with my baby, my little dog, and cleaning my house, buying plants. That was like the sweetest thing, like really being taken care of while you were also dealing with your own stuff. So that was like a bomb in the the rhyme bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm laughing now, but it was really tough, and it was also
Mm-hmm.
beautiful at the same time because a lot of
Yeah.
people came like supporting and were
Mm-hmm.
so sweet and so like good. And me and Sadi, his name, like we had really good talks and like everything becomes really clear in a moment like that. It's like, all right, we love each other so much and this is gonna
Mm-hmm.
be it, like we're gonna just face this and also trust that we have this feeling that he will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever whatever will happen, we'll find a way through this.
Yeah.
One day at a time. Yeah.
I remember like we were standing watching the sunset on the beach that one of those
Oh
evenings
yeah.
and I just
So
looked at you.
crowded.
Yeah. So crowded. Summer
Summer
vibes.
vibes.
Everyone's like July, woohoo, summer, Aperol
Happy.
Spritz, San Sebastian,
Yeah.
Spain. And we're just like crying in the background. And
Swollen
one of us
faces.
one of us lost the love of our lives. The other one the love of your life is fucking sick with leukemia. It was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I remember
Yeah.
looking at you and just seeing and really feeling like I can feel it in my body right now, like this crazy trust that you had in that moment of just
Mhm.
like this almost like stoic, like you were just like, I just know it's going to be
Mhm.
okay. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I remember thinking, like, okay, Hannah, like, if Luz thinks this, everything's just listen to Luz, like that you always
Yeah.
have this ability that
Mm.
you come back to trust and you just feel it so deeply in your body. And it's almost like your trust that everything's going to be okay. Like, wills the universe to create everything to be okay. Like that's how powerful it
Mhm.
feels coming from your body. You're like Jesus. You
Jesus.
could like you could walk on
Ah.
water if you wanted to, but that's the like power that it
Mhm.
feels like it comes
Yeah.
from you when you're in that energy.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like I've been through enough to know what is true in my body and what is not. Like, yeah, I can
Mm-hmm.
have really chaotic days and messy mind and like all that. But there is this through walking this walk and like understanding myself better, like I really know what feeling in my body I can trust and what is like
Mm-hmm.
head space and like overthinking and fear and all that. Like I really know the difference. And sometimes it's really hard to like stop my brain from going that fast. I have
Mm-hmm.
faith, but still I am a little anxious or I'm dysregulated. I mean, I experience those feelings too, but at the same time, there is that trust, what you talked about. Like I just feel it so deeply, and I feel it because I worked so hard to hear that voice
Hmm.
in me. So yeah, I felt, and that it turned out to be that way. I mean, like many months as they are passed, and we got good result after good result after good result. And that doesn't mean that it was all like fun and games. It was really hard.
No.
These months were really hard with him struggling with all of his symptoms, and like struggling with the side effects of the medication, and not having any energy, and also me worrying. And like, I mean, I had nights that I thought he was dead. It's like, oh my gosh, he's not breathing. It's like feeling his chest and like pinching him. It's like, are you still alive? That was
Hmm.
really scary. And like, not that, yeah. And then like the dynamic of the relationship changes, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, you're confronted with newness that
Hmm.
like wasn't there before. Like looking at yourself and like, oh my gosh, this comes up, that comes up, this I need to work on. Oh my gosh, it's like easy, easy girl. Like, yeah. So it was the months after that was really, they were really tough and also really good, but also really, really hard and difficult,
Yeah.
taxing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And now he's officially in remission,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the values dropped so significantly that you can say that, yeah. And obviously he is still on the medication to like support this journey, but I'm sure, and I feel this in my body as I felt it before, that there will be one day that he doesn't need this medication. It's going to be gone like fully. That's what I feel. Yeah,
Yeah.
but in the beginning feeling that trust, but it's not there yet, that's also like, all right, I feel this trust, but there's also a lot of fear. What if, what if, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. These experiences too, like they just continue to solidify our ability to work with others, like I feel like we said that a lot during all this shit show of like, okay, this is a good reminder for people who we work with, because it is such a
Hmm.
human thing to have that what if and the mind coming in and the anxiety and the doubt, and to just like, if someone might say like, how did you do that, like how did you deal with that, what did
Hmm.
you do, and it's
Hmm.
like, obviously
Hmm.
there's not a formula, otherwise
Yeah.
everyone would be doing it easily,
Hmm.
but to have the pathways and the tools to come back to connection, like, is there something specific, like, do you remember, like, from a micro lens, like of a daily life perspective, like if someone was listening and for example maybe they are going through a similar situation, just like a really simple thing that you did all the time, or is it, I mean, I obviously know it's more complex than that, but is there anything that you can
Hmm.
remember doing daily?
I didn't do one thing daily other than walking my dog. So taking a lot of space to breathe and to like walk and clear my mind with the walking. I feel,
Hmm.
looking back, like what probably would help me more, because that's easier to look at, like what I actually did were like a lot of tiny things, just being in a moment,
Hmm.
being very much in a moment, that helped me a lot. But what would have helped me more is if I would have meditated more. And I just couldn't do it, or I felt like I didn't have the space, but maybe the meditation would have created that space. Like
Hmm.
if I go back, if I could have gone back like now and just like talk to my old self, it's like, hey girl, you really just sit down, meditate, do the silent meditation that would like slow down your mind more, so you have more space to tune into your body, so you can give yourself more. I would have accepted help more. I would have taken care of myself even better than I
Hmm.
already did. Like I think I learned a lot of my own like challenges throughout this, because you
Yeah.
just discover that. But if I could go back, and if I can advise anyone, just like create so much space in your body, way more than you think you need,
Hmm.
um, to slow down. Because with this, with all the uncertainty, I feel like there's a lot of mind energy
Yeah.
fears and what ifs and all the things that you are so attached to, the love and the connection and the way of living and your business and work, whatever, right? Um,
Right.
your mind just needs a lot of space
Hmm.
to slow down and to relax and to digest. So
Hmm.
much to digest. And I feel like I did a great job, but I could have
You
done
did.
more of that, I feel, to create more, even more ease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like it's also, I feel like some of these hard challenges that we've went through, like inspired some of our new um offerings
Mm-hmm.
also, like in the second
Mm-hmm.
half of the year, and how we
Mm-hmm.
shifted things a little bit with RYME, and you know, everything from not having the physical capacity to do as many retreats as we did last year. And,
Mm-hmm.
that was a big financial hit for us.
Mm-hmm.
And what actually came out of it now and what's coming out of it continuously is okay, we need to work more with people online, and we need to be able to do that to sustain our lives, because like shit
Mm-hmm.
like this happens. And how can we
Mm-hmm.
continue working in a place where maybe we can't meet up for retreats? How do we support ourselves and our partners and our future
Mm-hmm.
families and all of that? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's, yeah, again, so many blessings in all the bullshit, but like having more space for offering and working people online. And I even
Mm-hmm.
hear in your voice when you said how you needed even more meditation and more space, the recordings that you've created, around that in the last couple of months to support others also in
Mm-hmm.
cleaning up their energy, clearing out, releasing
Mm-hmm.
stress, like coming back to the body.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so crazy cool and fun, and I love it so much that
Mm-hmm.
everything we go through
Yeah.
only creates a more enhanced
Mm-hmm.
version of who we are as professionals.
But let's reround again because that wasn't the end of that summer. More happened.
More happened. Yeah. So then if you can feel it in my body. So
Mm.
then I left you in Saudi and Spain, and thank God things were going a little better, and his health was, I mean, we kind of knew at the point where I left that like it was the best case
Mm-hmm.
scenario. I'm back to
Mm-hmm.
Charleston, and then I flew back to Costa Rica. I had been debating what to do for my 33rd birthday, and after all of the events that unfolded, I decided to come back here and just get here and be with my community here and surf. And
Mm-hmm.
not without one extra little challenge on my way. I was traveling, and just, I was still in that state where it's like I couldn't stop crying, and just was moving through life in such a phase of haze, foggy
Mm-hmm.
haze. And then the last plane out of the three planes it takes to get here, which is a small pedal jumper, which I knew I shouldn't take. And I felt it for days. And I was even emailing the company, like, has it been raining? Because it was rainy season. And if it rains, they really shouldn't fly. And they're tiny, like five seaters. Um, anyway, I land in San Jose. Of course, it's raining. Of course, they say it's all good and we're going to take off. And I didn't really listen to my gut, and just you trust these people who do it every day. And long story short, I got on this plane and we took off, and I remember sitting next to this man who turned into a friend, and just kind of making jokes. Like he kind of was like, well, the sky looks pretty dark, and it's like, yeah, I remember making this joke of like, but it can't crash, like it's my birthday. And then he's like, oh, happy birthday, blah blah blah. And the stranger
Mm-hmm.
ended up being the person that I'm clinging to 20 minutes later, as we continue to go up. And we are just in the heaviest rain that you can ever
Mhm.
imagine. I thought the
Ugh.
raindrops themselves would like push the plane down,
Mhm.
and absolutely zero visibility, like full black skies, thunder, lightning. Like I had my eyes closed and I would kind of crack them open and ask him and say, like, is that lightning? And then of course everything was flashing and beeping, and I, I remember there were two different alarms that were going off inside the plane. And just even hearing one alarm, like in a tiny plane, like you don't want to hear that. And then
Yeah.
there's like
No.
another one at a different pace, the different pitch, and you're just like,
Oh
all the
gosh.
radars went black. I could
Mhm.
literally see the beads of sweat like coming out of the pilot's head, like dripping down their face. And
Oh my
I mean,
god.
bless these sweet guys, but they are so freaking young
Mhm.
and just looked very stressed and not communicating with us.
Mm.
But similar, I guess, like to how you probably felt in your last story, it was like this panic and peace at the same time or something. It's like when you're in that
Mhm.
survival mode situation, like you don't really have time or space to like freak out, you're just like breathing and praying and trusting. And it's
Mm.
like I knew I was going to be okay. Like I just, but your body's like, you're not going to
Mhm.
die. Like you can't die, But then it's like,
Mhm.
can you though? Yes. So it's like, do I trust that or am I actually going to die right now?
Mhm.
And the whole plane is shaking, and like I said, we're clinging to each other, and just like they
Mhm.
try 3 different times to land the plane. They absolutely cannot because they can't see the canopy of the jungle, um,
My
or
god.
much less like the landing strip or anything like that. And we'd already made it all the way to the coast. And so they come back on, and the first thing they say to us this whole ordeal is, we're going to try to go back to San Jose now. And,
Oh
you're
my
just
god.
like, try? Like, what is
Yeah.
that word? Why?
Just land, please. Now.
So a 20-minute flight, supposed to take 20 minutes,
Yeah.
was over an hour of
Mm.
that and going back
Ugh.
through the storm. And then I saw the landing strip in San Jose, and, just like get a little bit of relief, but then you're just still not down yet. And
Mm.
we end up landing, they land the plane safely. And then my body just absolutely lost it. Like after the
Mhm.
safety had been kind of like achieved, like your body feels like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
safe now. Like I had my first like full blown visceral panic attack.
Mhm.
You know, I practice and work so much in my body, and having all these strategies and tools to kind of like influence and be
Mm.
in control of that with breath and with movement. And I just remember I remember the thought coming in my head of like, you're gonna lose control now. And
Yeah.
then the next thought being like, and that's okay, like it just like let it rip. And I did, like,
Yeah. Oh gosh.
to a point that was like ridiculous, but very necessary. And this sweet guy who actually is a plant medicine facilitator and happened to be the perfect person to literally hold space for me and physically hold space for me. And he
Mm.
helped me. My body was in complete, it was frozen, and he
Mm.
helped me get off the plane. And we sat on the ground for about an hour, and took a long time for me to come back to my body and back to my breath. And
Mm.
um yeah, luckily he was there. And I remember when we landed, also like the first thing that came into my mind was like, oh my gosh, like nothing else matters, like you're alive,
Mhm.
which was again such a fucked up blessing, such a fucked up birthday gift. Because I had been so sad and so heartbroken for, I don't
Yeah.
know, by that time it might have been a week or
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
And just to have that literal perspective
Mhm.
shift, which is perspective play, something we talk about and use a lot in rhyme. And like, how
Mhm.
can you shift your perspective and create a new story, and shift
Yeah.
your beliefs and awareness?
Mhm.
And for me to have to go through that, obviously would not wish that upon anyone, but it was
Yeah.
a huge perspective shift of like, okay,
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like if you're in like it was this moment of like if I survive this, like like you're like making all
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
promises, you know.
I
And
will go
so
to church every day.
yeah, making all these promises to God.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, like for real,
Yeah.
landing and
Yeah.
surviving that, and after getting through the shock and coming into my
Mhm.
body again, it's like it
Yeah.
created so much distance from the grief, and
Mhm.
I feel like it was like a high speed
Mhm.
processing pill. It was like I took a pill to help like process
Mhm.
what was going on. And again, just had this newfound like, oh my God, everything's okay. Coming back to Costa Rica and to
Yeah.
my home and community here and surfing. And I was like crying every time I went surfing just out of gratitude and love. And
Yeah.
it it again was like another
Mhm.
experience that enhanced my way of being and seeing and
Yeah, yeah.
end up being super grateful for it after the fact.
Yeah, oh my gosh, after. That's the magic
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
Gosh.
And also
Yeah.
I imagine like you said this was your first like real big like panic attack, right? Like so I
Yeah.
feel that that must have like given you a lot of insight in hindsight, right?
Right.
Like how magical the body is and like how it works and how that feels when you're in that state because many of our
Mm-hmm.
clients experienced or experiencing those things too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was really good for me to actually viscerally feel that because I've heard it
Mhm.
so much from people,
Mhm.
friends, clients, and to
Mhm.
actually go through it and to feel the lack of control
Mhm.
and yeah, to actually like witness it and be a little bit even dissociated from it and giving,
Mhm.
like you said, a lot of insight and yeah, compassion and wisdom for guiding people through that or supporting people to create pathways to ease that if that's something they're going through.
Mhm.
Whew, 2024. Damn.
But
Yeah.
like I must say then in like September and October were really, really, really great too. Like we had a wedding, we had a really beautiful week of holiday with family, with our friends' family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had an amazing retreat. That was so good. Like I felt
So good.
recharged. Like
Oh
the
my
first
gosh.
half of 24 was so difficult. And then it was like, ah, 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 ba, 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 la, 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 la. And it felt so good. Like it
Yeah.
was, yeah, I
That
had
retreat
such
was
a good.
magic in
Mhm,
Morocco. Yeah. We had so much fun in Spain. And I obviously did not
mhm.
want to come back to Europe just like a month later after
Yeah.
all that shit show. And I just felt like it was the best trip ever. We had an
It was the
amazing
best. Yeah.
the six
Mm.
weeks and going to our
Yeah.
sweet Rupon's wedding and
Yeah.
in Spain and celebrating her love and also like it was
Mhm.
really RYME, right? Like we met her and then she became a client and then she became a bestie and then a family and still a client and it's just it was so special to like witness her love and see all the hard work that she's been through the last several years and we've supported her through and yeah, it was just the best and the wedding was epic. Shout out Roops.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah, it was so good. That was also the first week that Sadi felt better. Like
Yeah.
he was good and he had more energy. So everything started to shift. So that was really so good. And then this like weekend, Spain was so good.
Oh
Right
yeah,
on the
so
beach.
good.
So recharged. That was like the highlight of
Yeah,
my year. 2 months.
it
Yeah.
was. And an interesting side note about that trip is like we had no money. Like
Mm-hmm.
with like pulling in a little bit of our from the business side of things, like we were really kind of
Mm-hmm.
scrounging around to make that trip happen. And of course, like
Mm-hmm.
had already spent all the money we quote made from the Morocco retreat. And we were still just enjoying and trusting and enjoying and trusting and trusting and trusting some more and a little more and a little more. And even now, just a few months later, like we're in a totally different space. And it was like
Yeah.
all of our that personal
Mhm.
stuff that was going on obviously impacted our business. So, like as entrepreneurs, that's just like a part of it. And to have each other and to be able to
Mm.
like lean on each other and trust and remind each other of trust and like thank God we have each
Ah!
other.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like that's the common thread in all of it. It's like, wow, so grateful. So
Mm-hmm.
grateful for this news, for so grateful for that support, and so grateful that we have this trust and we did the work, and so grateful that we have Rhyme and that we have each other and we have a constant like communication about everything and that we can give each other space, and so grateful that we can recycle all of our experiences into our business and that we
Mm-hmm.
like like are there, like
Mm-hmm.
to like walk side by side on this journey, and then getting ready for the next year, like yeah, it feels like we are on this path. So blessed to have each other. That's what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow, like if I would have gone through all those things by myself, that would have been so much more difficult, like so
Yeah.
much more challenging. And if I
Horrible.
didn't have if I didn't have like this beautiful friendship and this beautiful like business and like everything that comes from my heart, from your heart, and we pour everything in our business, that is our mission on this earth, right? Like if I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have that while digesting like my partner being sick, like that would have been like, ugh, like where's the light? And
Yeah.
throughout the whole like that whole period, it was like still working, still doing things, still feeling really good as well with like working with clients and like
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff, because we're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, like having all that energy because we are working from the heart, and we then everything that
Yeah.
is a little more difficult or a lot more difficult, that makes it also like more digestible because we're
Yeah. For sure.
yeah.
That's so well said. I feel like normally when you go through something or sometimes in life you're going through something challenging and then it's like, oh fuck, I have to like figure out how to work, like I have to go like to
Mm-hmm.
work. And
Mm-hmm.
for us, it's always been this complete opposite experience since we've started RYME, where it's like, thank goodness I have
Yeah.
RYME to focus on and like
Recharge.
motivate us. And yeah, it's recharging. Like working with clients, sometimes it's like I feel better after,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
almost
like,
always.
hallelujah, I have this client today. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna feel so good after.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's like you said so beautifully, like we're working from the heart and it lights us up and it generates energy and generates probably like new cells in our body and like literally gives
Mhm.
us life, to be working in the way that we are. And so, yeah. And so many new offerings, like, especially in the
Yeah.
last couple of weeks, like, we've brought on so many new coaching clients and we have created something called the RYME Inner Circle, which, like you just said, going through this shit alone would have been horrible. And that's a huge manifestation of our experience this year, I feel. And because we've been talking about it for years and we've been, hosting retreats and the groups of people on retreat stay in touch and kind of keep in
Mhm.
communication. But this is like finally what we've been really wanting to do for so long. It was so easy to actually do it in the end, but it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just a
yeah.
matter of like timing, and I
Mm.
feel like now we've cleared so much shit from our bodies and from our
Ah.
energy
Mhm.
and our minds and just like
Mhm.
creating space for real growth and real abundance. And we've shed so many layers and gone through so much. And being together we've only had one, but we're going to keep on going twice a month and to be in the inner circle and to see who showed up and to just be in community together and practice
Mhm.
together. And that's truly what RYME is all about, like being in community and being in support of each other, no matter where we
Learning from
are.
each other.
Yeah.
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 And and sharing that these, because everyone's going through these kinds of experiences, like this is not unique, right? But
Mm-hmm.
to
No.
be able to reflect and how we process the experience, right? Like that's
Yeah.
actually one of the things that you said to me as soon as this plane thing happened was like, everyone experiences trauma. Like this is a traumatic thing that happened, but now how you
Mm-hmm.
process it is going to be whether it's going to stick in
Mm-hmm.
your body as trauma or not, right? Like how we actually
Mm-hmm.
process
Mm-hmm.
what we go
Mm-hmm.
through. And are
Mm-hmm.
we able to have a different perspective? Are we able to see it as a blessing in
Yeah.
disguise? Are we able
Mm-hmm.
to learn what we need and integrate that and release the rest? And all of that is really like what matters
Mm-hmm.
and what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we only do that well, or we are able to do that better because we have each other and we have RYME.
Yeah.
And so
Mm-hmm.
to be able to
Ah,
hold space for others in that way,
yeah.
so
So
good.
good. Yeah. That's beautifully said. Like I feel like all the lessons that we learned from these experiences, and I mean that wasn't it, obviously many other things happen, and like ups and downs, etc. Like we I feel like we put that in our practices and like the modalities that we offer, and like this rhyme circle, I would have loved to have a rhyme circle to attend to before when this happened. Like then I could have like talked about this maybe some more, and then maybe someone said like you should go and meditate, you know, or you
Mm-hmm.
should like what if you just take a weekend and just go do something, whatever, you know, like for yourself. Like maybe then I would have done that. So like it's not like now that we had this past year and things happen that the next year is going to be blissful and all like good. Like things will happen. Like that's life. Things will happen. We go up and down, um, which is great. And it is really, really, really helpful and supportive to have a community to remind you of all the things that you already know that you need to do, what feels good, what
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel good, and maybe get inspired. Or maybe you tell your story to someone else and someone else says, oh shit, yeah, oh my gosh, I can like that, I never thought of it that way, you know,
Right.
like makes me feel really good that we have this space and can create this space. And I'm also
Yeah.
really excited for a lot of different offerings that we're going to offer because of what we've learned. It's like every
Yes.
time I go through something, it's like, yeah, hardship. I can recycle this into rhyme. Not maybe not like that, but I do also feel that. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, this lesson, I'm definitely going to like integrate this, you know? So
Right.
I'm really excited for 25 with the energy of 24 in
Mm-hmm.
our rhyme backpack to like share and
Mm-hmm.
contribute to other people's lives.
Yay. Recycling.
Yay! Recycling,
Yeah. And now
recycling.
it's December.
Mm-hmm.
Almost done.
Yeah, the year's almost over.
Big shift. It was one, the 2024, I was laughing again in hindsight about this because I just had a 10-day bout with dengue fever. Just, I was like, just
A
24,
really
when
bad
it,
one.
yeah, like 2024 was just like, let me just give you one more little
Yeah.
treat, you know? But again, like I was finally teaching again yesterday after 10 days of pretty much having a crazy fever and being like in a hallucination state and
Mm,
very dehydrated and very scary.
yeah.
And my blood platelets were low. And I learned so much about what the fuck that even means. We learned a lot about blood and marrow this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yesterday I taught my first class after, you know, recovering my energy enough to teach. And I taught my whole class about blood platelets. I didn't even tell you. I was just like talking about,
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about having dengue fever and what that was like. And again, one of the biggest blessings that just comes straight out of that is like so much
Mm-hmm.
gratitude for the systems of the body that work perfectly in harmony and homeostasis and keep you alive with no effort. And it's something I teach about a lot in yoga in general, just to like enhance the awareness of our inner landscape of what's going on. Just in general, feel like it's so powerful. But It was funny, like every practice or every posture and like being in inversions and like, oh, I'm just nourishing the blood and just visualizing the platelets, just doing their thing, and everyone was laughing. And it was a really powerful class. Like people were super dropped in. And at the end, they were really like
Mm,
receptive and gave a lot of feedback around how powerful it
mm,
was for them to think about those things.
mm,
So, yeah, just an instant recycle
mhm.
into RYME
Yeah.
and how we can use it now.
It's easy to forget that what we have when we have it,
Right.
you know. So it's so powerful to put like conscious like awareness to
Mm.
gratitude to what we do have. And it sounds all like, oh yeah, gratitude, blah blah blah. Everyone is talking about it, but it's so true. Like
Mm.
once someone takes away your energy, then my gosh, like energy, that's magic. If you have energy, that's really crazy good. And if
Yeah.
you don't have it, then it's like shit,
The worst. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping this vibe alive, huh?
The RYME vibes.
The rhyme vibes, the rhyme
Well, that was
bliss.
a pretty good wrap up. I don't even know how long that was, but was that was it. That was a
Mhm.
good recap.
Yeah.
Do
So
we
I have
want to
one last question. One last question. What are you taking from this year, 24 to 25, as like the biggest, aside from gratitude, right? Like we already talked about that. Like, what are you going to bring with you from 24? What lesson?
trust? I feel like it was just a big year of trust.
Mm,
And it's something that we talk about and work on all the time. And also, I feel like reflecting back and remembering and um yeah, like giving even more value and even more of like I don't know the word like even more weight to trusting my body, you know, and
mm,
not waiting until it's an
yeah.
absolute shit show, because my mind was choosing something else. But, just to like
Mhm,
really know that feeling and
mm,
to, to, yeah, just honor it more. I guess that's the word.
mm,
Um, yeah, whether it's a small thing or a big thing, just my body knows,
mm,
it always knows. I know how to listen to it. And sometimes,
mm,
we do, and sometimes we don't.
mhm. Mm.
What about you, buddy?
I feel like, I mean, like I just came to this conclusion, like in this last couple of weeks, is that like honoring the sensitivity of my body even more. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I've already did that. That I need so much space and like quieting my mind down, quieting my body down to really listen to what my body needs. Like if I don't do this every day, then like I have such a drive in my body and such like motivation and like zest for life that I my mind can go way faster than my body can. Like my body has that and a hard time to keep up because it is also so sensitive. So I have like two like major powers in me. It's like this like brain that goes everywhere and like things about like fantasizing, like very airy, and also this very beautiful sensitive core, well, my solar plexus, I feel like that, which is I feel is my strength, but it needs space and softness and time to like
Mm-hmm.
to clean and to clear and to like to to use this strength for good. Like I feel like I need more balance. I mean, I'm a Libra, so I need like that has been my biggest lesson this year. I feel like all
Mm-hmm.
right, I need to acknowledge even more that I'm really sensitive and I have a lot of power in my brain and in my like my system and creation and stuff. And I need to like create more space to balance them out so I can actually move effectively instead of like moving against me.
Yeah.
I feel like that I do
Yeah.
that. I tend to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you're also learning a lot about that and like shifting out of that, like having more energy, moving with your energy with more ease, like being able to like put pen to paper more, so to speak, even though
Mm-hmm.
we almost never actually do that. But yeah, you're doing great.
Thank you, buddy. You too. We did great.
You
Great
did it.
year. Good lessons. I'm drinking a tea that says this. May all beings be happy.
Oh, lokasamasta, suki no baventu.
That's what we want,
That's
right?
great.
Like that's
Yeah.
what we why we created RYME, just to bring some
Yeah.
ease that
Yeah.
creates space for happiness.
Yeah. So good. So good.
Mm-hmm.
So many rhymey opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, buddy.
RYME is everywhere.
Love you.
Love you. Thank you, 24.
Ready for you, 25.
Ready. Oh my gosh. So ready.